Zangief, the Russian wrestler who fights for his country. The Red Cyclone is the original big body character of Street Fighter, with a fighting style based off of wrestling moves that includes powerful throws and hard-hitting strikes. In Street Fighter V, Zangief received some interesting changes due to the system mechanics, with one of the most controversial things being the removal of one of his staple moves, Green Hand. But despite having a different toolset, Zangief still remains terrifying up close. Zangief has a few buttons that allow him to play the ground game fairly well, and one of those buttons is his Crouching Light Punch. Zangief's Crouching Light Punch is similar to Birdie's in terms of range and damage. If this is blocked, then it can allow Zangief to attempt to throw the opponent and get the ball rolling from there. This button simultaneously acts as a deterrent and a poke. Another key component to Zangief's gameplay is none other than his iconic move, the Spinning Piledriver. The Spinning Piledriver, or SPD for short, is Zangief's main throw, which requires a 360 motion to execute. Each version of Spinning Piledriver can be done from a different range, with the light version having the longest reach and the heavy version having the shortest. If the heavy SPD connects, then Zangief can dash in to be right next to the opponent and attempt another grab. But be careful, as there are multiple escape options to avoid the grab and allow the opponent to escape Zangief and punish him. Despite his slow movement, Zangief has V-skills that help tackle some of his weaknesses. His V-skill 1, Iron Muscle, turns Zangief's skin color to red and gives him armored properties, which allows him to sponge projectiles and strikes. If Zangief holds the V-skill, he can absorb up to 2 hits within a certain amount of time, in which afterwards a physical attack comes out. His V-skill 2, Super Russian Kick, has a similar function. Zangief gains armored properties similar to Iron Muscle, whilst charging up an insanely powerful kick. During the charge animation, Zangief can let go at several points in an attempt to catch the opponent off guard, but if he charges the Super Russian Kick to the maximum, then a wall bounce effect will occur, which allows for a follow-up. If the fully charged Super Russian Kick is blocked, then it will cause a guard break, allowing Zangief to start his offense from there. But be warned, as armor-breaking moves can counter both of these V-skills, so Zangief needs to stay vigilant when those situations appear. If there's a reason to fear Zangief, then it's through his V-Trigger 1, Cyclone Lariat. This is Zangief's main comeback tool and gives him several ways to set up a spinning piledriver situation. If Zangief taps the V-Trigger buttons, then he draws the opponent in to create a deadly situation. If Zangief holds the V-Trigger, then the suction is followed up with the Cyclone Lariat special. The longer the V-Trigger is held, the longer the Cyclone Lariat combos, and at the end can get various follow-ups. Cyclone Lariat is useful for multiple things, the first being to counter projectiles. This can help him in matchups where fireballs are the primary way to stop his approach. The other crucial thing is he can combo into the Cyclone Lariat from his Crouching Light Punch, making it an enormous threat whilst in V-Trigger 1. Cyclone Lariat takes a while to get, but once ready, watch Zangief's opponents cower in fear. With the unfortunate combination of sluggish movement and no move to easily close the gap, Zangief struggles against characters that are excellent at keeping him at bay. But when Zangief finds that one opening, no character is safe from the terror he can potentially cause. By treating his vitality as currency with the necessary investment, you can get a big payout. If you like big body characters and golden opportunities, then pick the Red Cyclone and take the gamble. Laura Matsuda, the energetic Brazilian bonita and older sister of Sean. Laura was another character introduced in Street Fighter V. She fights her opponents using Matsuda Jiu-Jitsu, an original martial art inspired by Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Being able to manipulate electricity whilst using various grappling techniques, Laura aims to showcase why she's the strongest woman from Brazil. Since Laura is a grappler, she has a few normals that can lock the opponent in place. The first being her standing light kick. This is one of Laura's strongest normals, due to being quick and providing huge advantage. If the opponent blocks, Laura can throw the opponent with her infamous command throw, Sunset Wheel, to kickstart her offense. If the standing light kick hits, then she can combo into a light bolt charge and set up a dangerous situation to mix up the opponent. Another powerful normal Laura possesses is her standing medium punch. This functions similarly to her standing light kick, but does slightly more damage considering it's a medium and leaves the opponent further away when blocked. When wanting to force defense from the opponent, this is one of Laura's best friends. Standing medium punch also acts as Laura's go-to anti-air, as it covers a decent angle against aerial opponents, so you'll see this button quite frequently. An unusual tool that Laura has, which is key to her gameplay, is her projectile Thunderclap. This travels at 3 different speeds, with the light version being the shortest and heavy traveling the furthest. Thunderclap can also be charged if Laura holds the respective button down for a few seconds. Laura can use Thunderclap at an unreactable range to galvanize the opponent and punish a mistake. But once Laura commits to the Thunderclap in any way, she can no longer defend herself, so opponents shouldn't waste the opportunity. EX Thunderclap is quite potent as well. Whilst having different travel speeds, you mainly see it used as part of a pressure string to cause the opponent to flinch. Mixing up every version of Thunderclap is super important. Laura can get real crafty when using her V-Skill 1, Vaulty Line. This is used to catch opponents who are crouching off guard and position Laura to potentially land a throw. The attack is quite slow though, so if the opponent blocks it, then they can get a full punish. The other part to Laura's V-Skill 1 is her linear movement, a unique dash that has decent utility. Linear movement can be cancelled into from most of Laura's normal attacks. The Avante version closes the distance, allowing her to initiate the strike-throw game. Be warned though, since if the opponent is alert, then they can stop the dash to prevent any gimmicks. The Equiva version pushes Laura to a range where she can utilize Thunderclap again or look to bait something from the opponent. Now if Laura holds the buttons after doing linear movement, then a physical attack comes out. This V-skill is great at keeping the opponent on their toes. For Laura to make a comeback, she needs to call upon her V-Trigger 1, Spark Show. This unlocks Laura's true potential. All of her grappling moves do slightly more damage, her EX Thunderclap gains an extra hit of durability, and she gains the ability to cancel her Thunderclaps into her V-Skill 1. Spark Show allows Laura to inflict tremendous damage and create some potent mix-up situations. The round doesn't start until Laura's in V-Trigger 1. Laura is an expert at punishing mistakes, as she forces a decision out of you. With the combination of her brilliant projectile, Thunderclap, which is something grapplers don't normally have, and her V-Skill 1 linear movement, making her tricky to deal with. To stop Laura in her tracks, however, the opponent has to be unpredictable with their defensive choices, ultimately making it hard for her to commit to anything. If you dislike Blanca but still want to represent Brazil, then pick Laura and shock the opponent into paying attention. Dhalsim, the yoga master hailing from India. A pacifist through and through, Dhalsim will never hurt an opponent beyond what is necessary and fights to protect his village. As the original long-range fighter, Dhalsim's ability to distort and extend his limbs in ways that are physically impossible for any normal person allows him to have a significant edge from a distance. He also has the power to teleport to maintain distance from the opponent. In Street Fighter V, Dhalsim remains the frustrating character that he is notorious for, but with newly added moves working alongside the V system, Dhalsim gives the word creativity a whole new meaning. Dhalsim has numerous attacks that are difficult for most characters to navigate, one of those attacks being his standing medium kick. This is Dhalsim's fastest long-reaching attack and helps maintain a good distance between him and his opponents. This is his standard poking button. Whilst this is relatively safe to use, the opponents can catch the extended limb if Dhalsim is too liberal with the move, so be mindful when using this. Another normal Dhalsim should use is his standing heavy punch. Most of Dhalsim's extended limbs are considered mid-attacks, but standing heavy punch is classed as a low. This is great for catching opponents trying to reposition themselves when looking out for his other long-reaching normals. Standing heavy punch is also a crush counter, so if it connects, Dhalsim can generate a little more distance and set up shop. Another fantastic move Dhalsim possesses is his special attack, EX Yoga Fire. This works differently in Street Fighter V, with the regular versions traveling differently instead of the traditional horizontal way. But EX Yoga Fire follows the old school rules. The projectile travels slowly across the screen, allowing Dhalsim to move freely whilst the opponent is fixated on the projectile. This is one great way for Dhalsim to start his offense. Dhalsim's V-skills take his mastery of Yoga to a new level. His V-skill 1, Yoga Float, should be self-explanatory. He becomes airborne and can take action from the skies, whether it be teleporting or coming down with a jumping attack. He can also use Yoga Float to avoid attacks such as projectiles and allow him to reposition himself. Be warned though, since if the opponent catches Dhalsim whilst floating, he'll be left in a special juggle state, allowing huge damage to be inflicted upon him. His V-skill 2, Yoga Deep Breath, helps strengthen his projectile game, as it enhances all versions of his Yoga Fire. The regular versions now gain the ability to ricochet off the floor or bounce back from behind the opponent, and the EX version does 3 hits instead of 2. Yoga Deep Breath can be used on the ground or in the air. Dhalsim's V-triggers have some of the best utility in Street Fighter V. His V-trigger 1, Yoga Burner, puts down a flame carpet that burns the opponent over time. Burning the opponent builds up white damage, meaning the next time Dhalsim lands an attack, he'll do more damage than originally intended. Yoga Burner indirectly makes Dhalsim's combos deal more damage, and blocking seem like a horrendous choice. His V-trigger 2, Yoga Sansara, puts out a stationary projectile that travels incredibly slowly. But to change the speed and trajectory, Dhalsim has to use his Yoga Flame, which enlarges the V-trigger. Yoga Sansara can be used in combos or as a way to stop the opponent in their tracks. Similar to V-skill 2, Yoga Sansara can be activated on the ground or whilst airborne. Dhalsim takes screen control to another level. His toolset makes it difficult for a large portion of the cast to even fight him properly, making him one of the strongest characters in Street Fighter V. But whilst having a powerful moveset, the biggest deterrent is that Dhalsim has a steep learning curve, so he's not for everyone. But if you have the patience, perseverance, and peace of mind, then pick Dhalsim and master the art of yoga. Thank you for watching. These character overviews are made possible by our generous patrons. For $1 a month, you can help support projects like this and also get bonuses like early access to videos and your name listed here. Up next is Fung, Alex, and Guile.